What if I told you that having more dating options has made you worse at finding love? Not better. That your great-grandparents, with their limited pool of potential partners, were actually more satisfied in relationships than you'll ever be? And that the technology designed to help you find the one is systematically destroying your ability to commit to anyone? This isn't nostalgia talking, it's science. And the implications are more disturbing than you might imagine. You live in the most choice-rich dating environment in human history. With a swipe, you have access to thousands of potential partners. Dating apps promise you compatibility algorithms, endless options, and the perfect match waiting just one profile away. Yet studies show that people today are more anxious about relationships, less satisfied with their choices, and more likely to remain single than any generation before them. Welcome to the paradox of choice, where having more options doesn't lead to better outcomes, but to psychological paralysis, chronic dissatisfaction, and what psychologists call maximizer's curse, the illusion of infinite choice. Every time you open a dating app, your brain enters what researchers call choice overload. Psychologist Barry Schwartz discovered that when faced with too many options, humans don't become happier. They become overwhelmed, anxious, and ultimately less satisfied with whatever choice they make. Think about your last grocery store experience trying to choose yogurt from 50 different varieties. Now multiply that cognitive load by the weight of choosing a life partner from seemingly infinite options. Your brain wasn't designed for this level of choice complexity, especially in something as emotionally charged as romantic selection. But here's where it gets psychologically twisted. The abundance of choice creates an illusion that the perfect person exists and is findable. This illusion is what keeps you swiping instead of investing in the imperfect but wonderful person sitting across from you right now. The FOMO epidemic in love. Fear of missing out isn't just about parties you didn't attend. It's rewiring how you approach commitment. When you know that thousands of potential partners are just a swipe away, every relationship becomes haunted by the ghost of what if someone better is out there? Your great-grandmother met her husband at church, work, or through family. Her options were limited to maybe 50 eligible men in her community. Once she chose one, she invested fully because she understood that relationships require work, not endless comparison shopping. You, on the other hand, have access to millions of profiles. But this abundance creates what economists call opportunity cost anxiety. The constant worry that choosing one person means missing out on someone potentially better. This anxiety makes deep investment feel risky and foolish. The result? A generation of people who treat relationships like rental cars. Pleasant for the moment, but never fully committed because something better might be available. The hedonic treadmill of modern romance. Here's the cruelest irony. Even when you find someone genuinely wonderful, the knowledge that infinite alternatives exist prevents you from fully appreciating what you have. This is a hedonic treadmill applied to love. You adapt to whatever good thing you have and start craving the next upgrade. Dating apps gamify romance, turning human connection into a points-based system of accumulating matches, likes, and validation hits. But games are designed to keep you playing, not to help you win and walk away satisfied. The apps profit from your continued searching, not from your happiness in love. Every notification promising a new match triggers dopamine, the anticipation chemical, not the satisfaction chemical. You become addicted to the hunt itself, not the connection. This is why people in perfectly good relationships still compulsively check dating apps. They're not looking for someone better. They're chasing the neurochemical high of possibility. The maximizer's curse in love. Psychologists identify two types of decision makers, satisficers and maximizers. Satisficers set criteria for good enough and commit when they find it. Maximizers need to find the absolute best option available. In our choice-rich dating environment, most people have become romantic maximizers without realizing it. You don't just want someone compatible. You want the most attractive, successful, intelligent, funny, emotionally available person within your geographic radius. And since you can always find someone who seems better in some dimension, you never fully commit to anyone. Your great-grandparents were forced to be satisficers. They had limited options, so they chose someone good enough and invested in making the relationship work. Counterintuitively, this constraint led to greater satisfaction because they weren't constantly measuring their partner against infinite alternatives. The commitment paradox. Modern dating culture has created a fundamental paradox. The very abundance of choice that was supposed to help us find better matches has made us incapable of choosing anyone definitively. We mistake having options for having freedom, but psychological research shows the opposite is often true. When you know you can easily replace someone, you invest less emotional energy in working through difficulties. When your great-grandparents hit relationship challenges, divorce wasn't easily available and neither were alternative partners. So they learned to navigate conflict, compromise, and build intimacy through shared struggle. You, meanwhile, face the first major disagreement and think, why work through this when I could swipe for someone more compatible? This escape hatch prevents the deep intimacy that only comes through weathering difficulties together. The grass is greener syndrome. Social media compounds the choice paradox by providing constant evidence that better options exist. You see carefully curated versions of other people's relationships and compare them to your unfiltered daily reality. Everyone else seems happier, more attractive, more fulfilled, because you're comparing their highlight reel to your behind-the-scenes footage. This creates what psychologists call compare and despair, a chronic state of relationship dissatisfaction based not on actual incompatibility, but on imagined alternatives. You start evaluating your partner against impossible standards compiled from multiple people's best moments. The paradox of connection in the age of options. Here's what's philosophically profound about this situation. In seeking to maximize our romantic options, we've minimized our capacity for deep connection. Connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires trust that the other person won't abandon you for someone seemingly better. But when both people in a relationship know they have infinite alternatives, neither can fully invest without fear. You create shallow connections designed to be easily terminated rather than deep bonds built to weather life's inevitable storms. The ancient wisdom we've forgotten. Stoic philosophers understood something we've forgotten. Happiness comes not from having unlimited options, but from finding contentment with what we choose. Marcus Aurelius wrote about preferred indifference, external things that might be nice to have but aren't necessary for well-being. In romantic terms, physical attractiveness, social status, and even compatibility and minor preferences are preferred indifference. They're nice bonuses, but not the foundation of lasting love. The foundation is character, commitment, and the choice to build something together despite imperfections. Buddhist philosophy offers another perspective. Attachment to outcomes creates suffering. When you're attached to finding the perfect partner, you suffer through every imperfection in the people you actually meet. When you release attachment to perfection, you can appreciate the unique value of whoever chooses to love you. The scarcity mindset solution. Counterintuitively, the solution to choice paralysis might be artificially creating scarcity. This doesn't mean settling for someone wrong for you. It means changing your decision-making framework from maximizing to satisficing. Set clear criteria for what you need in a partner. Not what will be ideal, but what's actually necessary for compatibility and happiness. When you meet someone who meets these criteria and you feel genuine connection, choose them. Then delete the apps and invest fully in exploring that connection. This isn't about limiting yourself. It's about recognizing that depth is more valuable than breadth in romantic connection. One person known deeply is more satisfying than 100 people known superficially. The investment principle. Psychologists have discovered that we tend to value things more highly when we've invested effort in them. This is called the IKEA effect. You love the furniture you assembled yourself more than identical pre-built pieces because of your investment. The same principle applies to relationships. When you invest time, energy, and vulnerability in understanding and supporting someone, your emotional attachment deepens. But when you keep one foot out the door because someone better might exist, you never make the investment necessary for deep satisfaction. The network effect of commitment. Here's something our choice-obsessed culture ignores. The best relationships often become great through time and shared experience, not immediate compatibility. Your great-grandparents didn't just choose each other. They built something together that became irreplaceable. When you commit to someone and begin building shared memories, inside jokes, mutual support systems, and intertwined lives, you create something that can't be replicated with anyone else. This is the network effect of commitment. The value increases with time and investment. Practical philosophy for modern love. So, how do you navigate modern dating without falling into the choice paradox trap? First, define your non-negotiables clearly and narrowly. What do you actually need for compatibility versus what would be nice to have? Keep this list short and focus on character and core values, not surface preferences. Second, practice gratitude for what is rather than anxiety about what might be. When you're with someone you enjoy, be fully present instead of mentally cataloging their imperfections or wondering about alternatives. Third, understand that good relationships are built, not found. No one is perfectly compatible from day one. Compatibility develops through communication, compromise, and shared growth over time. Fourth, recognize that committing to someone doesn't mean settling. It means choosing to build something valuable together. The best relationships are co-created projects, not lucky discoveries. The freedom in limitation. Perhaps the most radical insight is this. Limitations can be liberating. When your great-grandparents had fewer choices, they were free to go deeper with the choices they made. When you have infinite options, you're trapped in surface-level evaluation of endless alternatives. True freedom in love isn't the ability to choose anyone. It's the ability to choose someone and be fully present with that choice. It's a freedom from constant comparison, from FOMO, from the exhausting search for something better. What love looked like before options, before dating apps, before social media, before choice became our romantic religion, love looked different. People met through shared activities, communities, and mutual friends. They got to know each other gradually, in context, as complete humans rather than curated profiles. They understood that love was largely about timing, proximity, and choice, not about finding their soulmate among millions. They knew that any reasonably compatible person could become the love of your life if you both chose to build something together. This isn't to romanticize the past. Limited options also meant people stayed in genuinely harmful relationships. But there's wisdom in understanding that great love is made, not found. The choice to choose. The ultimate paradox of choice in modern dating is that your greatest power lies not in having infinite options, but in your ability to choose one option and commit fully to exploring its potential. This is a choice to choose, the conscious decision to stop shopping and start building. When you find someone whose character you respect, whose company you enjoy, and with whom you feel genuine connection, the question isn't, are they the best person I could possibly find? The question is, am I willing to build something meaningful with this person? That willingness, not compatibility scores or perfect chemistry, is what creates lasting love. Your great-grandparents understood something we've forgotten. Love isn't a feeling you find. It's a choice you make daily. And sometimes, the most radical choice you can make is to stop choosing and start building. The paradox of choice in modern dating isn't that we have too many options. It's that we've forgotten how to choose. But once you remember, once you understand that depth beats breadth and investment creates value, you can find in one person what a lifetime of swiping can never provide, the deep satisfaction of truly knowing and being known by another human being. The choice is yours. But maybe it's time to stop choosing and start building.